This is Company of Heroes History. Hello and welcome to episode 17 of Company of Heroes History. Today we're looking at what I think is the very best replay from patch 1.5. I know I was in the middle of a short series that was looking at Nystrom, looking at Golridir and Aniketos and the development of the meta during patch 1.5 and into 1.6. But the best replays to kind of show how the meta changed at the end of 1.5 are actually going to be in 1.6. So I'll show those once the next patch gets underway, and we move on to that after this replay. But today we have something pretty special for you. We have Moose Titty in the north. This is actually a Smurf account of Nystrom. And in the south we have Exexe, or Exexe, I guess it's pronounced. Exexe was only around for a short time, but he had a couple of really fantastic replays that did very well on GameReplays.org, were downloaded a lot with silver and gold replays. So he's a player who you may not remember, but I can assure you is very, very strong indeed. This match was probably one of the more came right at the end of patch 1.5. So what I hope we're going to see here is a real development in the meta, and hopefully we're going to see some slightly different strategies, a little bit more out there work. Although of course this barbed wire from Nystrom, is of course a classic maneuver. That's not anything that was too new at the end of patch 1.5. On the left-hand side of the map, Exe has decided to kind of focus on the left-hand side with his Volksgrenadiers, and I presume his bike will be going over this way too, unless he decides to use this to push over on the right-hand side and try and harass these engineers as they kept that point. Oh, these riflemen pushing down here to the strat point will put pay to that idea. This bike's going to have to be very careful. He's caught at short range there. Has no choice but to kind of run away. Lost about a third of his health there, went down. But not too bad. It's a nice little move here. This is taking advantage of the fact that as of patch 1.5, Volksgrenadiers could actually build sandbags and basically had the same access to the build menu for sandbags and barbed wire that Grenadiers have. So he's taking advantage of that and using that to his full effect. Looking here, he lost almost no health whatsoever on this Volksgrenadier squad and was able to chase away that engineer. Could come in handy if the riflemen come over and push then. If he'd lost a little bit more health, here they come. If he'd lost a little bit more health, he might not have been able to face these riflemen off with quite so much confidence as he should be here. Of course, the bike also helps out with that a little bit, even though it's lost quite a bit of its health. It needs to be careful, of course, the bike can't reverse. So it's a little bit more difficult and awkward to maneuver than would be a Jeep, for example. This MG just comes out just in time. Will it be able to pin this Rifleman squad? I think it should be able to, yep, and we'll save this bike here. Can now comfortably be repaired by this Pioneer squad, I think. Volksgrenadiers were able to get the cap off on that fuel point, and the Pioneers in the corner capped that high munitions as well. So it's a decent income here now for Exe. Exe, that's a very awkward name to say. I'm going to go with Exe. We'll just go for Exe and see how we get with that. MG now pushing up here. Interesting, I've just noticed I've been playing a bit more of the game myself recently. And of course today, even the MG has a kind of smaller white bar under it here, which indicates the health of the MG itself. Ooh, this Pioneer could be chased away here, trying to get the recap there. I think this rifleman in a house will chase us away very quickly indeed. A lot of damage going down. In the meantime, something's been chased away on the left-hand side as well. Oh, looks like this actually will get the cap. I'm actually surprised to see that. Oh, look, it's going to be very close. He just decided to retreat there at the last possible second. Do manage to just about sneak away, although that was a little bit close for comfort, I must say. Pretty concerted push on the left-hand side now. See, looks like he's sort of locked down there. Of course, we're getting to the stage now where Nystrom should have his fourth rifleman on the squad now. Yeah, around now should have his fourth rifleman, and this is when the big pushes and the big flanking moves really start to come into play, so he's got to be careful. Although the nice move here is going to stop that to an extent by putting this barbed wire on the left-hand side of the base here. But also, he didn't quite finish building that, I don't think. Oh no, it looks like he did. So he won't be able to shoot that down with his rifleman, unfortunately for him. He's going to have to go the long way around. And of course that has limited the flanking options for Nystrom unless he gets the wire cutters upgrade, which of course isn't that expensive. But yeah, it's a nice move there to get this down at this sort of timing. It prevents that kind of really fast timing when if they get just about get that 4th rifleman squad on the field or even 3rd rifleman squad on the field, and if you push in with some flamers or some rifleman upgrades, you can really do a lot of damage at that point. Nice work here. Oh, this rifleman trying to push in here to prevent this going down here. These pioneers in a negative cover are going to have to be very careful, although the riflemen too are standing in negative cover, so they could go down if he's not careful. Looks like they might sneak away here unless Exexe decides to bring over some Vox grenadiers. If I was him, I might have brought this Vox to this point here just briefly and might have been able to catch that rifleman squad on retreat. Very low health indeed. Maybe a slight missed opportunity there. I wouldn't be surprised if he isn't teching now. Actually, at this point, we don't see any tech from Exexe still. Maybe he's going for that blitz strategy that is famous around this era of the game. So, of course, the extended tier 1 would be very indicative of that. Indeed, we have another MG coming out, so he's going to be at the stage where he has a bike, 3 Volks, and 2 MGs to go along with his 2 Pioneers, although it does look like one of those Pioneer squads did go down at one time or another. Well, I wonder when that was. Bad casting. Managed to miss that somehow or another. Let's go and have a look at see what Nystrom is doing and see if he's got any tech on the way. It looks like the supply yard is down. And he is not currently upgrading anything at his barracks, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a motor pool coming down shortly, and perhaps a tech into... actually, although having said that, he's got an observation post on his high fuel, so he may be going for tier 4, it seems. It's quite aggressive bunker here, covering that strat point, which is relatively nice. Well, it might just be outside of MG range, looking at it now. But Nystrom could, of course, see that. Doing a good job of garrisoning this house and hiding behind this hedgerow. So even though he's been pretty much locked down away from that left-hand side, is able to make a direct incursion over there. He can, of course, see what's going on over there using the extra sight range of this house. Oh, and it looks like Exexe fancies himself to push over onto this right-hand side now. It's actually very good timing for this. It's a bit awkward because of the road here and the negative cover. You can take a lot of damage if you're not careful pushing across the road. But with Nystrom going for a kind of slightly aggressive tech strategy, this flamer could be absolutely perfectly timed. Unfortunately for Nystrom, the flamer isn't the one firing out of these 2 windows at the current moment. Nystrom's got to be careful that these medics don't stop recycling these Vox grenadiers, who are going down relatively quickly. It could be recycled very quickly indeed if they're just standing just here. We already see one. This guy's not yet coming across. It looks like there hasn't actually been any more losses yet. Oh, this flamer now pushing across. It could do a great deal of damage at that range. Need to be focus fired, I think, by these Vox grenadiers. Although at this short range, they can, of course, be very quickly picked up and recycled by this medic bunker. This Vox squad is really in big trouble. It seems like Exexe is not too concerned about getting it away. Indeed, that one does go down. Look like he did make the effort at the last minute there to try and save it, but wasn't to be. I can't imagine that these medics running back and forth there aren't going to get at least one squad out of this engagement, which of course will make up for that. And the engineer squad goes down as well. Yeah, this will quickly make up for the loss of the Vox engineer squad here. I think Exexe will be pretty pleased with that trade. Having taken out a couple of squads on his own. Nice use of the bike here. The bikes, of course, had very high fire priority around this period of the game, so you could, if you were fighting units in a house that weren't able to actually change their directly change their targeting manually, you could, by running the bike in and out, in and out, in and out, you could increase the longevity of your infantry squads quite effectively. Nice move there. Although now the Pioneer's down, he's going to have to be a little bit more careful, might have to push out of there. Although this Rifleman squad is now in trouble. Very low health indeed. It's one of those beautiful long engagements that I think is working in the favor of the Axis to a degree, because they're getting these, the medics are working hard throughout, getting these Grenadier squads. But it's also serving Nystrom's purposes to a degree as well. That it's giving him the time to get his tank depot up, and he's very shortly will have the fuel, the 90 fuel necessary for his Sherman. So I think maybe he would take that trade, perhaps losing a little bit of the manpower efficiency, to be able to bridge the gap to his Sherman, which is coming out right now. Looks like he's getting the wire cutters upgrade to try and make an incursion on the left-hand side. Interesting timing for that because, of course, the Sherman is, you know, just a few seconds away from being able to come and break this for him. Although, of course, it is one of those abilities that will be useful throughout the game. We see some Stormtroopers now. Okay, this is... Looks like this will be the Blitz veterancy strategy from Exexe. At least that seems most likely at this stage. One Panzerstrike on the field now. Panzerstrikes, of course, were pretty powerful during this patch, but that's not a massive amount of anti-tank to try and take on this Sherman. Of course, it takes 5 or 6 shots with a Panzerstrike to penetrate to be able to take that out. And, of course, with the accuracy of Panzerstrikes, even in this patch when they were pretty effective, you're going to have to be a little bit lucky to get that away. Oh, looks like this flank is coming in a nice time here. This MG is not quite pointing in the right direction. Looks like he will try and turn it around. It looks like he'll run back to the medic bunker here. I think that's a good idea. The second MG is setting up there, so we'll be able to protect the flank of this other MG. Good retreat there, soft retreat. But now the Sherman could come over here and do some absolute nightmarish damage. Doesn't really seem to me, at least I don't sense that there will be an appropriate counter for this on the field. Unless Exexe decided to has also teched at the same time and has managed to be pretty close to it. Oh, I don't like this decision. I think that is a bit of a mismicro there. Loses 3 members of those MG squads already to the first shot from the Sherman. Looks like that MG will just about sneak away and get out of there. In the meantime, on the right-hand side, these Panzerschreck Stormtroopers looked like they were trying to push over towards the left-hand side to chase away or deter that Sherman somewhat, and were intercepted by these riflemen, but they will be able to push over across now. Should be okay. We do see the 50 cal upgrade for the Sherman. That makes it much more effective against these infantry squads. I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't come in handy against these Stormtroopers and Grenadiers, if these are indeed going to be the only... Oof, nice shot there from the Sherman. Little misfire on the medic bunker. But instead decides, here we go. So we do now have 3 Panzerschrecks on the field. That should be enough, I think, to deter the Sherman, at least in the medium term. Of course, Sherman's very hard to take out, you know, permanently. Oh, look at this. How interesting. So now the UI has updated with the level of, you know, the degree to which the medic bunker has brought, has retrieved enough bodies. So it looks like now 3 of the 4 have been there for another Grenadier squad. That wasn't showing just earlier in this replay. How strange. That's not. I can't explain why that's the case. I'll have to do a little bit of reading about that. This Sherman now has already got itself up to Veterancy 1. Nystrom is using this brilliantly, backing away and continuing to take pop shots at this infantry mass from roughly maximum range. Very nice move there. Gunner killed on that Sherman, so that'll reduce its effectiveness against these infantry somewhat. In the meantime, Riflemen are still without bars, although it looks like, yep, they are coming in now. Just saw the fuel count go down. So they are going to help out a lot more in these engagements now when they get the bar upgrade completed. This Volksgrenadier squad is kind of playing with fire over there against the Riflemen in light cover, choosing to retreat now, but of course the medics always make these engagements very tricky to win cost effectively for the Americans. You know, effectively each one of those guys, if it gets retrieved, is worth, what, 75 munitions? There's something like 5 manpower, I suppose, if you do manage to get the 4 in. Getting that 300 manpower unit for free. When it's just such a huge swing in manpower, it's a fantastic unit, of course, the medic bunker. More riflemen coming out here for Nystrom. It already has 4 squads on the field, so I think going for a 5th rifleman squad is, of course, going to really hurt him in terms of his upkeep. You can see here, already down to just 236 manpower per minute income. I'm not exactly sure if I would have gone for an additional rifleman squad at this stage. Or maybe whether like a tech to the weapon support center would have been more effective. Of course, he needs to get a bit more fuel income if he wants to upgrade the supply yard to reduce that upkeep cost. I think that's certainly, at this stage in the game, was a very underrated thing. And I seem to remember reading that people believed at this stage that it was actually manpower ineffective in the majority of circumstances, which of course we know today is not the case. And supply yard upgrades are an enormous part of the 1 versus 1 scene, particularly in those longer games where the Axis veterancy can really add up and do an enormous amount of damage to the Americans' chances in 1 versus 1. Veterancy 2 now has come in for Exexe. That's going to make these infantry units far more kind of survivable in the wild. In engagements like this, they'll be able to survive a lot longer, particularly against these barred rifleman squads. Looks like the suppression fire ability has been used here. We do see a big infantry push on the left-hand side now. Look at all these squads for Exexe. He's in a fantastic position here, I must say. It's going to be very hard for the allies to keep up with this push on the left-hand side. You're going to have to use the Sherman to great effect, I think, to be able to stay alive in this. I think these engineers are going to have to run. Yep, they do all run out of there in the end. Nystrom stuck around there. I think perhaps doing his best to take out a few models of Exe's forces, trying to get some veterancy of his own to live up to the challenge of the Axis veterancy on the other side. But of course, it's not that simple. It's now doing a kind of slight push on this medic bunker, but of course with these Panzertrucks coming in, they should be able to chase away that Sherman before it's able to take out the medic bunker. It also looks like it's a long way from getting an extra squad, so he has got a little bit more time here. We haven't yet seen... Oh, it's got to be very careful there. Oh, rear armor hit, even though hitting from the front. From the front. A little bit of a micro mismanagement there from Nystrom, but he looks like he's will. Oof, I thought that Panzertruck was headed Sherman bound there, but he will be able to get away. Nystrom continuing to fight right next to this medic bunker. It's a dangerous move. It's a very dangerous move indeed. You are kind of asking for your opponent to get a little bit more manpower income than you, and particularly with the Americans, are so easily bled. Every single one of these extra rifleman squads just kills your manpower income, so you have to be extremely careful there. I haven't seen an upgrade yet. He currently doesn't have any... Oh, I'm not sure that's a good choice. Currently doesn't have any fuel at all, and it turns out that it was invested into the pineapple, Mark II pineapple hand grenades, which of course are very effective against static weapons and can force them to move and can force units to move away from cover. But in high-level games, they shouldn't be that effective at taking out infantry forces, although looks like we might see some used here. They have finished upgrading now. I'd be surprised if one of these squads doesn't attempt a cheeky grenade push here. Look at these 4 squads all just fighting right next to this medic bunker. I'm not sure this is the engagement. Oh, looks like we had some sneaky stormtroopers coming in here. Looks like they were trying to sneak around the back and maybe do some damage with bundle grenades, but this 4th rifleman squad that came up didn't manage to find that. Do see one grenade go in. Doesn't do too much damage, although there wasn't an attempt to dodge there that I saw. It looks like this engagement could go fairly well for Nystrom. He might be able to win the engagement in the first instance, but of course, fighting next to this medic bunker, you're just asking for trouble. There's such a high chance of you losing, of you giving away those grenadier squads and losing it in the long term, losing out in the long term, of course. Oh, another squad here getting very low. Doesn't want to lose that. Emergency 2 on this Sherman now. That Sherman is an absolute hero. I think without that, Nystrom would have been long gone in this game. Oh, it looks like it could be yet another squad if he's not careful to take out these medics sharpish. That motorbike micro has been absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it's yet another grenadier squad there. Let's switch over. It's going to be a tricky decision to see which is the hero of this game so far, whether it's the Sherman, put itself up to Veterans 2, or this motorcycle, which is still on the field. Still doing wonderful scouting and also doing some pushing and neat micro maneuvers in the early game. That was doing a lot of damage. We see a Stew on the field. Now, I'm not sure that alone is going to be too much help against the Sherman, but of course it will do a great deal of damage in cleaning up these the supporting infantry squads. Got to be very careful with this stormtrooper. It does go down, and 2 Panzertrucks on the field now. Now, if Nystrom is able to pick those up, that will do an enormous amount to help his cause. Wasn't able to get it, but has now dropped in a airborne AT gun, which will help a lot in pushing away this Stew, and does indeed do so. I mean, Exexe is so happy to be fighting here. Yeah, this is exactly where he wants to fight. It's a little bit awkward because of the road, but at any time, any moment, he knows he's just slowly bolstering his manpower income. He's trading with the allies while he's getting replacements and the allies aren't. That's a good position for him to be in. So I think Nystrom's going to have to find a different tact in these engagements. Maybe waiting until his Sherman is healed up and can sort of contribute more consistently to the battle. But of course, it's not that simple. It is kind of... It does take a little while to repair these units, and it looks as though Exexe is, at any moment, it could be willing to push forward. So time is perhaps not on the side of Nystrom at this time. Sherman pushing back in again with only kind of just over a third of its health available. Although that's beautifully done, making the use of the road, the kind of speed and acceleration boost that the road gives you to push in and then push away. Look at that long range Shrek shot though, absolutely huge there. But he does manage to get out of there. That Sherman has been an absolute hero so far. Another long range plan just right there, just manages to take out the AT gun. That is a huge moment. That will help his cause a great deal. Make his stew a lot more survivable with the lack of that AT gun on the field. Another huge infantry push here from Exexe. You can see that Nystrom in the distance there is reinforcing a lot of his squads. And he's going to be in big trouble here. Although pushing over this road is always a bit of an awkward situation. A very low health stew now pushing forward. It looks like a bar has been dropped outside this house, which these grenadiers gladly pick up and make a part of their own arsenal. And eventually push forward and got into what can only be described as the objectively wrong house. I think pushing into this one would have been nice. We're going to maintain the pin and perhaps, ideally... Oh my god, what a shot from the Sherman, taking out that squad. Panzerschreck dropped outside. Although yet another Grenadier squad has come in now. We're now up to 3 on the field, and we just saw 1 go down there, so that might be 3 squads there. Oof, that's a huge shot from the stew. Wonderful stuff, although these stormtroopers are in a little bit of trouble. It looks like Exexe may be slightly overextending here. I think he's still in the ascendancy, but he's got to be careful not to lose too many of these squads and kind of throw away the lead that he's built for himself over the past 20 minutes of this game. Rifleman squad pushing into that house, getting itself up to veteran C2 now. This is one way the Allies can come back into this, by consistently trading. Hopefully in ways that are a little bit more manpower efficient than they've been doing so far. But if you're able to keep building up that veterancy on your units, like this veteran 2 squad here, 1 veteran C1 squad here, there's another vet 1 squad on the left hand side, and of course the veteran C3 Sherman. Oh no, Exexe, what are you doing? Nice grenade move there though. It wants to take out the squad, so he's throwing away 2 squads. And a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4 Panzerschrecks now lying on the floor there. I think Exexe there's maybe just overextended it a little bit and has got himself into a bit of trouble. It's a real shame considering how strong he looked just up until that point. This veteran C3 Sherman clearly has been an enormous part of the turnaround. But he's going to have to get some infantry over here at sharpish to pick up these Panzerschrecks, because of course he's making a beeline towards that Tiger. That's got to be the next sort of like power unit he's going to have in his arsenal. But he cannot afford these riflemen, particularly if they get veteran C2 or 3 on them. He cannot afford to be fighting them. He can't afford to let them get Panzerschrecks when he brings his Tiger into the field. It makes them so effective. Oh, goes down, no! Oh, Exexe, what have you done? Now 4 Panzerschrecks on the floor again. Volksgrenadiers is pushing forward. Going to pick those up and make sure they've got plenty of anti-tank power now, although I think their anti-infantry power will be pretty ropey at this point. Nystrom has done a great job now. He's managed to keep this, the entire time this fight was going on, he's managed to keep this fuel point and this munitions point on the right-hand side under his control and bringing in the money there. So he might actually have access to... Although, let's have a quick look actually. Does he have that under control or is it neutralized? He does have it. Although he has been decapped at this strat point, it seems. A little bit hard to tell there on this screen. Switch back to Exexe very quickly now. Yeah, a little bit hard to tell. It looks like it's just been decapped. He hasn't actually been able to cap it himself, which is why it doesn't show up on the minimap. But Nystrom has also been able to make a little incursion on the left-hand side and do a little bit of damage to the map control of Exexe on this side. Exexe clearly hasn't been investing too much in the tank veterancy at this point. He's now saving up for... Oh, this MG goes the wrong way around the stew. Could go down. Does manage to get out of there, though, and survive. It looks like we're looking at Tiger time now. He has the 1,000 manpower necessary to bring in that strong, powerful Stormtrooper plus Tiger call in. Here we go. That is such a massively good deal for 1,000 manpower, of course. This Tiger, of course, hasn't got any veterancy on it, so it's not going to be quite as survivable as he might want. He's going to have to be careful with both AT guns and that Sherman on the field, which can, of course, pick it off if he gets it in the right situation, and is supported effectively by stickies and AT guns. So he's going to have to be a little bit more careful than that than he might have wanted to. It's not going to be... Oh! Goliath completed! Alright, I have to keep an eye on this. Can I set a control group? Yeah, it seems like I can. I can go to it. I'm going to have to keep an eye on what that Goliath is doing, because that is very, very exciting. With me. Oh, looks like the Tiger is now pushing in. I'm getting distracted by the Goliath. Meanwhile, the Tiger has decided to push itself into the middle of 2 AT guns and the Sherman. Sherman not outgunned, but is going to be able to do some damage. Look at shooting at the rear armor of this Tiger. I'm a little bit worried for this Sherman. It's got Veterans 3 on that. He does not want to let that go down, although the support of these AT guns could be enough to save it. Looks like we have a... Oh, this one Tiger goes down. Immediately, really definitely put it into the wrong situation there. The assault grenades of the Axis Stormtroopers were not enough. Were not enough to take out that AT gun before it managed to kill that Tiger. Now the Sherman has been pushed into the corner of the map there. It could be a little bit of revenge coming here. I'm not sure they'll be able to immediately take that out. There's only one Panzerschreck on this squad currently, and they have been suppressed by the supporting riflemen. Great work there by Nystrom to save that Sherman, the hero Sherman, staking its claim to be the hero of this game, above and beyond the Jeep. Although, this... I was excited to see that the Goliath was pushing its way forward onto the field, although it seems as though the AT gun quickly put pay to that. Looks like the Stu 2 now is in a little bit of trouble. Looks like it might have been stickied when I was looking at the Goliath and is now ready to go down to anything at all. This AT gun gets it as going. That AT gun has got a Tiger, a Goliath, and a Stu now, and still not quite Veteran C3. That's a little surprise to me. The motorcycle now pushing forward. I'm not sure what his plan is with this. Whether he was trying to flank around that AT gun, but of course any supporting infantry whatsoever is going to quickly put pay to that, particularly with those bars. They do so much damage. And the Sherman now does manage to take that out. That's Sherman. I'd love it if there was the kill counter in the bottom of the UI. At this stage, a grenade goes in here, just as I said earlier, that would be too effective. It was enough to scare away this Volk Grenadier squad at least. Nice move there from Nystrom in the north. Now, we now see what looks like just a recon run for the time being. Didn't see any strafing going down there on that central road. At least I didn't see it. Oh, that would have been a nice little strafe option here if we'd wait a little bit longer. A little bit more infantry in the base. Another engagement won by Nystrom. I think that turnaround there on the left-hand side could be... I mean, I think that's definitely going to be an engagement that Exexe will regret at this stage. He's really lost a great advantage there. He could have used this Tiger a little bit more, slightly more passively, and I think his desperation is to try and take out this Veteran C3 Sherman, which has been causing him all kinds of trouble throughout this game. It's a miracle that Grenadier squad survived that engagement there, to be honest. And we can see now from the look at the manpower income, the manpower rate of Exexe is now extremely high, almost up to 300, which means he hasn't got a great deal of units on the field, so his upkeep is lower. So of course it's the double-edged sword. It's that kind of comeback mechanism of the game, a very light comeback mechanism, but a comeback mechanism nonetheless. The fewer units you have, the more manpower income you'll have. So in cases where you have relatively little on the field, you will have a little bit more opportunity to come back, whereas of course the Americans struggle with manpower much more, and when they're used to having 4 rifleman squads as the backbone of their army, and of course the upkeep rate of those rifleman squads is relatively high. It can really hurt your manpower income long term. Another push out here on the left hand side by Exexe. Oof, a huge hit there from the Tiger, getting a little bit of revenge for what the Sherman has been inflicting on him for the entirety of the game up till this point. I think he's got to be very careful. This fresh Stormtrooper squad is of course going to be a nice addition to his force. Hasn't got any Panzerschrecks on it yet. Doesn't seem like he's upgrading them either in the bottom bar. But I'm certain there must be some Panzerschrecks lying around on the floor. So many have gone down in this game. I wonder if there's any up near this house. He could have sneaked over there, I think, for the short term. Prioritizing the VPs at the moment now. Perhaps trying to lengthen the game somewhat. And certainly he's going to need to get some more points captured. He's struggling a little bit with population cap at this point. In the meantime, let's have a little look and see what Nystrom is up to over on the other side. Nystrom's still sticking. I think this is a very good example of like combined arms, because he's just using this one Sherman tank. He hasn't yet invested in the second Sherman tank, but he's supporting it with AT guns, rifleman, engineering squads for repairs, and importantly now, he looks like he started raining down those resources in the form of the supply drops, which can give him access to the HMGs and mortars, as well as that additional income of both fuel and munitions. It's going to bolster his ability to get in more tanks, and also, very importantly, it's can help him with those strafing runs and bombing runs that maybe start coming in shortly. That's going to help him in these battles, large-scale infantry battles, and of course with the Tigers themselves. At a stage now where Nystrom is choosing to be relatively passive, it seems. He hasn't decided yet to sort of push his advantage. Did take a little bit more of an advantage on the map and did capture some extra points, but he didn't try and turn that into like a game-winning advantage and make any attempt on the base. It's an interesting, I think it's probably a good decision. I mean, he's only recently managed to take, whoa, almost managed to get a squad wipe there. Just as it's always I say something, like I'm not sure the grenades are going to do a great deal. We almost see a few squad wipes with them. Shows that I should probably just keep my mouth shut. To be honest, yeah, but Nystrom, as I was saying, is being relatively passive. He's not tried to... What? What a huge shot from the Sherman. That's veterancy 3 for you, I think. Just got a 4-man triple veterancy grenadier squad. Just went down to a single shot from the Sherman, although maybe the gunner itself was helping a little bit. That was pretty insane. This engineer squad now pushing over on the left-hand side, uses the suppression ability, stops the cap there, stops the munitions income. Climax is very important, of course, with manpower blitz on the cards at the end of the blitzkrieg's right-hand side. Does have to be careful there. Nystrom is now playing, I think, a nice positional game. He's willing to sort of lose a little bit of map control on the right-hand side, is where he's not going to be able to keep the entire map. But it's getting himself into a very strong position on the left. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't start pushing once he has sort of consolidated this. He's now taking a look with that recon flight, seeing where everything is, sees there's another Tiger over there on that right-hand side, and sees there was some of the first point of veterancy on it. So he knows what's going on over there. He knows that there's not a great deal keeping him out of the base. Will he decide to push that, or is he content to play the slow game for now? I wonder. It's kind of a difficult decision to make, I have to be honest. He's got this mortar doing a little bit of damage from the left-hand side, so he's got that indirect fire. He's going to keep chipping away at the manpower of the Axis, if he wants to, and at least chip away at the forces of the Axis. So he's not in a position where he's just kind of sitting around and waiting for something to happen. He's going to be able to push in now on this right-hand side and do a bit more damage. Another grenade goes out on these pin grenadiers. There's a huge amount of damage. This could be another dead squad if Exexe isn't careful. Oh my goodness, I can't believe the amount of squads that Exexe has managed to throw away here after the quality of his early game. He's really struggling here to maintain his presence on the battlefield. That's another squad gone down. I think at least all of the free squads that he got from the medic bunker have now rapidly disappeared. So any advantage he got from that has sort of frittered away. By this point, we see another AT gun on the field. Is that a third AT gun? Yeah, it looks like it. Nystrom does seem now to be slowly pushing up on this left-hand side. It looks like he's quite methodically capped those left-hand side points, and he's getting himself to the situation where he has pretty equal map control. I'm not sure if I wouldn't enjoy... I would enjoy as a caster, certainly, but I'm not sure if I wouldn't think it's a good idea to kind of put a little bit more pressure on this base. We saw from that recon flight that Exexe doesn't have a great deal on the field right now. And Nystrom's in a situation where he has those 4 rifleman squads with some veterancy. He has, actually, now I look at it, 4 AT guns, because there's another one up here. 4 AT gun squads. A push on the base here, you could probably afford to do that and maintain it relatively easily. Oh, and a bombing run or a strafe in here could do an absolute ton of damage to these remaining supporting units for the Axis. See, as it is, like doing these sort of half-baked attacks on the right-hand side, he's throwing away a bit of infantry and sort of giving the Axis an opportunity to, you know, just take that time necessary to get up to full triple veterancy on all of their units, which of course does a great deal to help their cause. Well, having said that, Nystrom is so well prepared with these 2 AT guns flanking this Tiger. Looks like he's used some AP rounds there, judging by that damage, although it's hard to tell. I'm not sure if I can tell by the sound. I'm sure some of you would be able to tell the difference there. Oh, and now it's a situation where Exexe is going to be trying to push into the base. I'm not sure I like this, pushing in front of the Sherman, which we know can do such a lot of damage in single shots. We've seen it in this game already. 4-man squads going down. Mortar also adding in a little bit of fire from the distance there. So I'm not sure that was a great push by either player, to be honest. Nystrom pushing over onto that side, forced to retreat almost immediately, because he didn't really make a concerted effort to push him off there. We now see another recon flight on the base. I'm not sure I quite like the positioning of that, but will he decide to drop in? Oh, a bombing run on this. If you could take out a couple of these squads and maybe take out another dent of health from the Tiger. It could be very effective. Doesn't decide to drop it this time. Oh, although we now see at the very last second, he does decide to drop it. And does take out the MG. Gets that Tiger down to very low health indeed. The Sherman not quite in a position, not healed up to be able to push in there and take advantage of that, really. Oh, I would have loved to have seen an AT gun pushed up or a Sherman, waiting a little bit longer perhaps to get that Sherman into a sort of fighting fit position where it could push in and take advantage of that low health Tiger. Although, of course, he has bought himself a lot of time there. He's going to be pretty confident he's not going to be attacked by that Tiger anytime soon. He's going to have to go back for some pretty long period of repairs, I would imagine, at this stage. A little bit more of a push on the left-hand side, going to get a little bit more map control. It's interesting he's using the engineers here. Wants to keep his fighting units on the field, so if there's no resistance, he'll be able to cap with these engineers and keep his riflemen in support in case the fight does break out. Of course, if he sent his riflemen in there, they would be very vulnerable to bundle grenades and the like. And he doesn't want to have to retreat his fighting units and create a small window of opportunity for Exexe to push on that left-hand side. I mean, it seems at this stage that Nystrom has got all of the units he needs and certainly does have a strong force, particularly with the addition of this second Sherman that's just hit the field. And the loss of that MG on the right-hand side for Exexe. This hero Sherman is still going around causing all kinds of havoc. Yet another AT gun pushed on the dropped on the right-hand side. We now see that Nystrom, look at his manpower income, only 190. We're up to 201 now, but only around about 200. It's so low. We saw that Exexe was getting around 300 earlier, 50% more. I mean, it's a huge difference. I really hope the Sherman doesn't go down, though. Oh, another. Oh, I think that Exexe has kind of been blinded by his desperation to take out the Sherman. Oh, and he doesn't quite get it. The 5% critical saves the Sherman again. Oh, and I think Exexe has sort of got tunnel vision. He's been tunnel visioned around this Veteran C3 Sherman that has caused him so much trouble. I only wish we had a few more statistics in this game that we could look at exactly how much damage and how many kills this has done throughout the game, but it's clear in a number of engagements now, 2 or 3 engagements, that Exexe has been so desperate to take out that Sherman, he's kind of throwing away units in the pursuit. And so I see the floor is littered with MGs and Panzerschreck squads all around the field, and I think now Nystrom's in a really strong position. Now, of course, the issue with his forces is that a lot of his AT, these 5 AT guns, that is absolutely enormous. He's trying to hold down both sides of the field with AT. The issue he has is that AT guns are very vulnerable. We saw this earlier with the use of the assault grenades from the stormtroopers, but also from the Panzerschrecks earlier, and this one that went down here. They do go down very quickly. So, although he seems to have a lot of AT on the field as it is, they could so rapidly all go down, and it could switch in the favor of Exexe, particularly if he's able to get a second Tiger out around that time. So Nystrom does have to be a little bit careful, although I think I would be pushing in at this stage. He knows the Tiger is badly hurt, although we do see Tiger pushing on the left now. Is that a new one, or is that an old one that's been repaired and is going to fight? We finally see a sniper. Nice to see a little bit more combined arms, not simply using the the Tigers and infantry. Looks like this rifle squad wants to get a grenade off here on the left. Looks like it will go down. Oof, nice shot there. Takes about half the health of that squad off. Isn't able to wipe it, but does a decent job there. I think the addition of... What a shot there. I think that was the Sherman trying to do a attack ground to take out the sniper. Oh! That rifleman squad now gets absolutely demolished by the Tiger, and the addition of a little bit of help from that stormtrooper squad. As we can see now, there's a little bit of vulnerability here. The AT guns having to push back, but the AT guns can go down so quickly, particularly if there's a Sherman there to help. Let's switch over to Exe's side very quickly and see what he's looking at here. This looks like the sniper did survive that attack ground attempt by Nystrom. Although this low health squad pushing in, oh, you've got to retreat and get this healed up. Oh, having seen one 4-man squad get absolutely demolished, what is going to happen again? But now we see another push on this left-hand side. Two Tiger tankers against those 2 Shermans with a little bit of backup from the AT guns. Another Panzerschreck shot goes off, but misses this time. Rifleman support here as well. Going to do a lot of help to help there. The mortar uses its smoke to help the retreat of those riflemen. Sniper pushing in now, going to try and take out the squads on those AT guns. It's going to be such an enormous help. Just imagine if we'd been able to do that a little bit earlier, maybe with the addition of a mortar or a couple of snipers earlier in the game. The smoke now coming into play. Doing a wonderful job in protecting those AT guns, it has to be said. Oh, chooses to defloat. The smoke again does the trick and stops that shot from hitting. If this had come in earlier, if you can imagine the consistent decrewing of those AT guns, it could have been so much more with these Tigers. Might have been able to take out that veteran 3 Sherman earlier in the piece, and would be in such a better position at this stage. Looks like he did use the manpower blitz ability recently to get that second Tiger on the field. We'll have another opportunity quite shortly. He's almost got the munitions in the bank already for when this ability recharges. So we may see him adding a Stormtrooper squad, or maybe even Stormtrooper squad and a stew. So that would be a couple of Stormtrooper squads and a stew to try and push out on one of these sides. But at the moment, we're still a relatively even game. We see that the VPs are very even at this stage. So I think it's kind of, at this point, it has to be sort of a waiting game for Exexe. He doesn't want to push too aggressively and lose these Tigers and put himself in a position where he can be annihilated off the map. I don't know if I like this, pushing forward with one Tiger. He knows there's an AT gun and 2 Shermans there, and there must be another AT gun that's somewhere around there as well. I think that's just asking for trouble, to be honest. He's going to put himself in a position where he might be able to do some damage, but I think he'll have to retreat long before he's able to completely take out any of these units. Of course, the sniper is helping with decrewing the AT guns, but this is not a wise push. He has another Tiger right there. Oh, the mortar takes out the sniper, and now this Tiger is going to have to retreat all the way back to its base. The Shermans smell blood, pushing forward now. Looks like they really want to try and take that out. Will that Veteran C3 tank cover itself in glory? Yet again, it does. Takes that out as well. This should be the Veteran C5 tank at this stage, to be honest. Absolutely the MVP. As much as I love seeing a motorcycle do well, that Sherman now has I think put itself out there as a clear front runner for the MVP of this match so far. Looks like he could call a manpower blitz and get another Tiger in at this stage, having lost that first one. But he's been reluctant to do so far. He's pushing forward with that Stormtrooper squad. I think Exexe now has kind of made the mistake that Nystrom didn't make. One way in which Nystrom played well, I think, was when there was those challenging moments where he found himself without too much map control and not too much engagements. He kind of had a plan. He was engaging in fights that he knew he could at least, he would either win or he would trade efficiently and get himself some veterancy, and give himself the space that he needed to tech up. Look at that shot through the eye of the needle, through that gate there. He would give himself the opportunity to get to a better tech. Relatively poor strafe there, although followed up with a grenade. Might do a little bit of damage to the squad. Indeed it does. Good bit of damage to the squad, although it didn't take out any models. Yeah, I think what's really defined this is that in moments of adversity, Nystrom was able to stall and kind of not lose any more manpower, not lose any more units, whereas Exexe has, in those really critical moments, oh my goodness, if this goes down now, I'll be very, very disappointed indeed. The Panzerstrike Pioneers, if they get the final shot off, that would be a one for the books. Oh, okay, excuse me there. The Tiger is moving forward, but is misfiring and missing the shots. It's all been... Oh, a damaged engine now right in front of those AT guns. That could be quickly remanned. Indeed it is. Another miss from the Tiger, and that Sherman will get away again. I'm sure Exexe is cursing the Company of Heroes gods at this stage, but and goes for Blitzkrieg Assault, which is a questionable decision, I would say. He needs to get some more units on the field sharp. He's just currently only got these 4 units there. And he had the opportunity to pull manpower blitz and get himself some more manpower on the field, but he didn't do so. And now this Tiger is desperately trying to get it away, but another Sherman smells blood. Of course, there's a couple of Shermans on the field now. We must be very close to getting vetted up as well. A sniper again comes in. I think they've kind of missed their window, to be honest. They would have been extremely useful 10, 15 minutes ago when the AT guns were really the big problem on the field, but now I think Exe's just thrown away slightly too much and will struggle to push his way back out onto the map at this stage. I think Nystrom is kind of showing his class here, just slowly but surely closing it out and not giving any opportunities for him to get back into the game. That sniper right in front of the Sherman, putting itself in harm's way, to be honest. And now these stormtroopers do get the kill off. I mean, they killed the 0 veterancy Sherman. Small victories, I suppose you could say. That's evidence of small victories. Oh, a huge strafe comes and kills the sniper and kills the stormtrooper squad. Nystrom just not letting off. He's got his boot across Exe's neck. And I can't imagine a world in which Exe's going to be able to turn this around now, to be honest. 1 stormtrooper squad on the field. 3 pioneers and this tiger that is absolutely crippled. And indeed, Exe does call the GG. Very good game, says Nystrom. I'm inclined to agree. It was a close one. I think Exe will be kicking himself. Had the opportunity to take out the monster at the top of the leaderboards, Nystrom. It wasn't quite able, having built a pretty good lead in the early game. It wasn't quite able to bring it home, unfortunately for him. Yeah, Exe's, of course, like ruined the fact that he threw away this tiger. That threw this tiger up here that was so desperate to push in and kill that Sherman. Understandable given the havoc it had been causing throughout the game, but it was just, he had a decent opportunity there, a relative parity on the field in terms of units, and a good position on the map, I would say. And he threw it all away in the pursuit of this guy, the monstrous MVP from this game. I don't think there's any doubting who is the MVP here. And I think Exe will be a little bit disappointed to have lost, but you have to say this was one of those exciting games that kind of is pretty quintessential about what Company of Heroes looked like in these early days. Some good plays, some absolute whiffs, but nevertheless some exciting matches to watch. Thank you very much for joining me today for Company of Heroes History. This will be the last replay review that I do for patch 1.5, and we'll be moving on to patch 1.6. I'm very excited about because it has some of my favorite games of all time. Thank you very much for joining in, and I hope you'll keep following me into 1.6 in the next episode. Bye-bye.